We're going to talk about the levels of international respect commanded by Presidents Trump and Obama through the lens of how American prisoners were treated overseas. Now, over the last couple of days, we saw this story about these three morons who played basketball for UCLA who were arrested in Hangzhou, China for shoplifting from a Louis Vuitton store. Their names are LeAngelo Ball, Jalen Hill, and Cody Riley. Now, these three brain surgeons should be kicked off the team and kicked out of school. They're idiots. They're morons. Who in the world, in their right mind, would shoplift in China? It's not exactly a country that's known for going soft and fuzzy on crime. But they did it, and they were facing 10 years in jail. Enter President Donald Trump. He has a quick side conversation with Chinese President Xi Jinping, and these kids wind up on a plane back to the United States. President Trump goes on to tweet, quote, "Do you think the three UCLA basketball players will say thank you, President Trump? They were headed for 10 years in jail." Donald Trump's 100% right. These kids were going to do hard labor in a brutal, oppressive Chinese prison. It's a place you don't want to be. And again, they were idiots. They embarrassed the United States. They embarrassed their team, their teammates, their school, their schoolmates. They should be booted off the team and kicked out of UCLA. But that's a whole nother segment, and many people have done it. That's not where I'm going with this. Today's show is about the contrast of how Donald Trump is treated by world leaders and how Barack Obama was used as a doormat. I mean, if you recall, just over the last couple of weeks, you saw the President Trump come off Air Force One in China, and kids and gymnastics. They were doing gymnastics, and flags were flying, and bands were playing, and there's a red carpet, and he's larger than life, and Melania looks gorgeous. And when Obama went to China, they made him come down the back stairs of Air Force One without any real official greeting delegation. They had no respect for Obama. Really, nobody had any respect for Obama because they didn't command respect. But let's go back to the way American prisoners were treated under Obama. And there were many incidents, but I pulled a few that'll upset you. They'll infuriate you. Because Obama cared about prisoners, just not the right ones. Now, remember Marine Sergeant Andrew Tamarisi? Well, Sergeant Tamarisi was in his vehicle near the Mexican border, and he made a wrong turn, and he wound up on a ramp that put him back in Mexico. There was no other way he could go. He had guns in his vehicle, and when he got to Mexico, he was arrested for the firearms, despite telling Mexican customs and U.S. customs where he was trying to go, what he was trying to do, and despite that particular ramp having confused many drivers before Tamarisi. It was a pretty common occurrence that people would lose their way on that ramp, wind up in Mexico, and have to be turned around. But Tamarisi, unfortunately, had a few guns in his vehicle. He was arrested, and he spent 7 brutal months in a Mexican prison alongside narco traffickers, the worst of the worst, these people who murder and behead on behalf of the cartels and leave bodies hanging in the streets of Mexico. So this 26-year-old who had served this nation in war as a United States Marine was rotting in that Mexican prison, and Barack Obama did nothing. It took members of Congress. It took Sergeant Tamarisi's mom. It took everybody but Barack Obama to get him out. And 7 months later, he came out. He was psychologically in terrible shape and really hasn't recovered since. Now, even more egregious than that is the case of Otto Warmbier. Now, Warmbier was also an idiot. This guy went to North Korea. He was a University of Virginia student. And he went to North Korea in January 2016 and was arrested soon thereafter. North Korea said he was committing vandalism and criminal mischief and either trying to steal a poster or deface a poster. Who knows if the North Koreans are telling the truth. But why in the world would Warmbier go there? That all said, though, Warmbier winds up spending like a year and a half in North Korea. And he dies a few days after coming back to the United States. Now, nobody really knows why. The coroner's report didn't necessarily show torture. There could have been malnutrition. They could have given him drugs, just general poor treatment. That all said, this guy, he was 22 years old, essentially another kid, rotted in a North Korean prison. I can't think of a worse place on the planet to be. And Barack Obama did nothing. In fact, Warmbier was only released after Donald Trump started rattling sabers with North Korea and getting tough. He wasn't sending strongly worded letters and UN resolutions. Trump started parking aircraft carriers off their coast. And that sent a message. Was there a correlation of that and Warmbier being released? I think so. Others say not. But I believe so. Unfortunately, he died. But again, Barack Obama did nothing for him and did nothing for Sergeant Tamarisi. Barack Obama did care about some prisoners, though. Barack Obama traded 5 Taliban commanders for deserter Bo Bergdahl. Remember that? Barack Obama did the press conference with his parents in the Rose Garden, and he acted concerned, and he hugged the dad, who we later found out had radical leanings. And he traded 5 Taliban commanders for Bo Bergdahl, who Obama made sound like the second coming of a Medal of Honor winner, Medal of Honor recipient. Well, it turned out that Bergdahl was a run-of-the-mill deserter. Bergdahl got soldiers killed looking for him, and Obama sent 5 deadly terrorist commanders back to the battlefield to get this deserter. Couldn't care less if they were killing other Americans out there. Couldn't care less if they committed terrorist attacks on American soil. Bergdahl was a radical. Obama had to get his radical back. He wasn't the only one. Bradley Manning, who's now Chelsea Manning. Bradley Manning, one of the worst traitors in American history. Bradley Manning, now Chelsea Manning, who breached classified information protocols, committed treason, and handed thousands upon thousands upon thousands of documents to WikiLeaks that revealed some of our deepest state secrets, that put our intelligence people, our military people in grave danger, might have gotten some killed. Bradley/Chelsea Manning, who was convicted for that and sentenced to a very long prison term, had that sentence commuted by Barack Obama. By Barack Obama, with no rhyme nor reason. In fact, it's unprecedented for presidents to commute the sentences of traitors as egregious as Manning. But again, that was Barack Obama's priority, not the Marine sergeant held captive in Mexico, and not the misguided, short-sighted college student who was being treated very, very poorly in North Korea because Obama was the world's doormat. And it is just so great. It feels so wonderful. I'm energized. I have pride again in America's projection of force around the world. I'm not a globalist, but I do believe that America needs to project force because terrorists get here way too easily. And Donald Trump has put the world on notice. America's back. America first. Don't screw with us. Don't screw with our people. And again, I hope these UCLA ball players get the boot from the team in the school. They were complete idiots. And he probably should have let them sit there and worry a little bit for a few months. They need to learn their lesson. They were coddled, I think, a little too quickly in this one. But man, isn't it great to have a president with the juice globally to make something like that happen? If you want me to keep bringing you this very, very important content, please subscribe to our premium service at www.therebel.media/shows. Don't forget to go to boycottvolvo.com and sign our petition. Let's let Volvo and other corporate brands know that we're not going to accept them being pressured by far-left groups like Media Matters for America so that they pull their content off of conservative programming like Sean Hannity's show. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back with you tomorrow.